What's up, everybody? It's Zach with Bluegrass Rentals of EKY. You're with me in my office this afternoon, and I'm talking to you today about avoiding a bad real estate investment in the Red River Gorge. The Red River Gorge is very unique in the properties that typically come on market for sale, as in most of them that come on market are not nice. They're not nice, they're not built nice, and they're junk. And a lot of these investors selling off bad properties in the Red River Gorge because the market is changing in its quality standards are actually bad investments. And I saved a potential co-host client a lot of money by helping him see that what he was thinking about buying was going to be a bad real estate investment. So jump in with me today, follow along in this video, and I will show you how I would avoid buying a bad real estate investment, how I would go about the numbers, so you can see if you're looking to buy a short-term rental, if it is a bad investment for you. All right, everybody, so you're seeing my screen right now, and I'm sharing with you a document I've put together called A Bad Real Estate Investment in the Red River Gorge. And so I had a co-host client reach out, or was referred to me, a man who was looking for property management services in the Red River Gorge. And he reached out to me about the property in question, which is Lot 9, Beta Drive, Beattyville, Kentucky, 41311. This property is listed on the market at a listing price of $199,000. It's a one bed with a loft, 795 square feet. As you can see here, some photos here. I would call this very much Red River Gorge bread and butter. This is very much Red River Gorge at its most basic sense, probably throughout the 2000s, mid to late 2000s, as far as the pre-Red River Gorge boom right now. This is what property quality was built like. It is a lot better than this now, and that's why this property is probably being sold by the current investor who owns it. And it's listed at $199,000. It's been on the market over 100 days. When I looked at this property, the co-host client asked me, is this a good investment? And if it is, what would your property management services cost? Well, personally, my property management services is 25% of the average daily rate is what I would charge to owners. I'd be more than happy to look at deals for you guys. If any of you have a property you're looking for property management services in, or if you're looking at the Red River Gorge in general, I'd be happy to look at properties you're either looking to build or buy and tell you what I think they could do in the market and what my property management services would look like for you if you wanted to run this property out of state and wanted someone local like myself to manage it for you. I told him, based off just looking at the property, and you can tell it too just by looking at the photos, it needs to have some cosmetic rehab, add a hot tub space, a grill area with some stringer lights. So he needs to add spaces to his property. I don't mean rooms, I mean spaces and therefore experiences to make this property have a snowball's chance and you know where of making the money it's probably going to need to make to warrant a $199,000 purchase price, which he eventually avoided this property through my counsel. It's a 5-minute drive to a rock crag known as the Mother Lode, which is a popular rock climbing destination in the Red River Gorge, and is 13-minute walk to the Mother Lode, which is great. Being in walking-ish distance to a primary rock climbing trail in the Red River Gorge is a big deal. And I would have thought it would have actually been a bigger deal, which is how the owner of this property is trying to market this, as a climber's paradise. And while it sort of may be, there's way more fancy or way more respected rock climbing areas in the Red River Gorge, like the PMRP, which this is not far away from, but there are way more other places people like to rock climb in the Red River Gorge and hundreds of other trails beyond just the Mother Lode area. And so it really wasn't, I didn't find it to be a differentiating factor for why this property would make decent revenue, because all of its comps I pulled to pull data for this property to see how much I thought it could make, all the comps are within minutes of this particular property, and none of them was making the revenue I thought they would, being as close as they are to the Mother Lode based off this bed and bath count, a one bed with a loft space. So let's dive on down here into some of the data that I found. First off, I put together a list of the estimated cost this property would likely incur per month. Number one being the mortgage, which would be $1,056 a month with a 20% down payment at 6.79% interest rate. Property taxes would be $184 a month, insurance $123 a month. I got that directly from Zillow. Wi-Fi $100 a month, trash $75 a month on a well and septic. I don't know if it is. I couldn't even find that in the listing description per se. but that would affect the costs up or down. So I didn't include any costs for well or septic on this property per month. Electric, I estimate at $200 a month. That's probably off, but for the year average, that might be roughly accurate at a one bed with a loft. Hospitable, $30 a month, and Price Labs, $25 a month. So total known likely bills for the month, and highlight there is $1,788. Even before my 25% management fee I would have been charging to this co-host client. Total bills for the year before my 25% management fee was going to be $21,456. Now, the question then becomes, now that we know what our expenses are, what are our comps telling us this bed and bath count can do in the same zip code as this property, relatively in the same micro market as this property, to tell me whether or not how much profit it will have over that $21,000 a year in bills? That's the big question in boldness here is big question. Can this property make enough revenue to even be worth purchasing due to the monthly costs and projected management fees? Let's look at the comps. Comps from Airbnb. Comp number one is Cozy Point Hideaway, 3 miles from the Motherlode and Bald Rock. No hot tub. It's a one bed with a sofa bed, and they utilize no smart pricing. This property has 21 reviews at a 4.95 star rating. Jumping into Airbnb here, here's the property, Cozy Point Hideaway, and let's just dive into some of the photos here. They definitely decorated for Christmas. I appreciate that. But again, it is cookie cutter Airbnb in the Red River Gorge. And that's where I just think a lot of these properties are struggling. Hundreds of properties, it seems like, looks just like this exact. Almost looks like it was just installed like a building you buy at Home Depot. Place it there and then finish it out interior and exterior is what this looks like it is. May not be. But that's what it looks like. And I hate to say it, but it's nice. It's bright. I would love to stay here with my wife on a weekend trip. But is it special? It's not really that special, not for the Red River Gorge. And we jump into their calendar here. And this is when we get back to my document. I pulled from them the revenue per month. So when you look at my revenue per month section here, I'll just highlight it briefly for you. Revenue per month. January, they average $99 a night, and I estimate my occupancies here. I never estimate more than 65% occupancy on any of my comps because the market average is 65 to 70%. So I'm conservative on my monthly occupancy rates, and I'm going directly into Airbnb to pull their monthly averages. I take 2 data sections from Monday to Wednesday and 2 data sections from Thursday to Saturday, add those 4 numbers and divide by 4 to get a month average. So January, they averaged $99 a night at 30% occupancy, which would be $891 a month. February, $63 a night at 40% occupancy, $756 a month. March, $99 at 45% occupancy, $1336.50 a month. April, $99, 45% occupancy at $1336 a month. May, $99 at 50% occupancy at $1485 a month. June, $99, 60% occupancy at $1782 a month. July, $99, 60% occupancy, $1782 a month. August, $99, 65% occupancy, $1930 a month. September, $99, 50% occupancy, $1485 a month. October, $99, November, $99, December, $99. You can see it on your screen. Hit pause so that you can look at the numbers and I don't have to rattle through all that. But the total projected gross revenue for Cozy Point Hideaway in highlight yellow is only $16,200 a year. Now, depending on what it costs the owners of that property to build and put that property together, that might still be a profitable investment for them. But it is not a good indicator of what our property can do. Subject property, 9 Beta Drive, that this potential co-host client is wanting to purchase. This is not a good sign, because if we're not making any more than that, we know our monthly bills are potentially $21,000 a year, but one of our comps is only at $16,000. That's telling us right now, not a good sign. The next comparable we have from Airbnb is the Little Red Cabin. It has a hot tub, has a small Pac-Man arcade machine, 15 minutes to all of RRG attractions. It's in Primrose, Kentucky, very close to our subject property. Has a hot tub. It's a 1 bed with a sofa bed. arcade machine, and they average for the year of $177 a night on Friday and Saturday nights. Almost every weekend for the year is their average. I've actually been in this property myself. It is nice and it's very clean. It is much more modern built than our subject property for sale above. The Little Red Cabin here has 78 reviews at a 4.97 star rating, which is fantastic. Again, hit pause here to look at the revenue per month, both in terms of their average daily rates for those months and occupancy projections. Also, one thing to note here about the Little Red Cabin is in March, they already have 5 days booked. In April, they already have 8 days booked. In May, they've already got 5 days booked. In June, 4 days. In July, 1 day. So their calendar's already filling up in a way you would like to see a Red River Gorge calendar be booking for the summer months. And that will likely obviously go up as we get closer to those months. And these occupancy rates, again, are market averages. Market averages. This property may be doing better than the market average in reality, but you don't need to know that. You need to just know your 2 weekday data sections, your 2 weekend data sections, add together, divide by 4. That will give you, based off what their calendar is currently pricing at, what their average daily rate for that month likely is. And then I'm projecting some on our occupancy rates, but for those who know the Red River Gorge, I'm probably fairly accurate here on these occupancy rates. And the Little Red Cabin is projected to gross revenue somewhere around $24,929 a year, $25,000. Remember, our bills are $21,000 on our property in question that is available for purchase. Only this Little Red Cabin, comp number 2, is nicer by far than our subject property, in my humble opinion. Now, the final comp from Airbnb is called Pluggy's Place. It's a climber's haven near the PMRP, 1 bed with a loft, fire pit, no hot tub, same brick wall feature, in fact, as our subject property, which means I think is maybe even possibly built by the same person. It's weird because they look unbelievably similar to each other. So let's jump into Pluggy's Place, our third comp on Airbnb. Here's our third comp, Pluggy's Place. Jump into the photos. Beautiful exterior shot. And here's the interior shot, dude. Look at that. There's the brick wall behind the cabinetry in the kitchen, exactly like, even has the little island that sticks out for the chairs, the bar chairs, has the loft just like our subject property. So I'm convinced the same guy built these 2 properties. And I think I know who that would be, which is fine. These properties look good. Here's Pluggy's Place, nice outdoor fire area, no hot tub. That's something to note, no hot tub. Here is the bedroom. I mean, I think that looks great. Sure, it's Red River Gorge through and through, but that looks good. Looks clean. Looks like a solid cabin. Very nice, very nice, very nice. This is something I'm just nitpicking on here as an Airbnb host, dude. Get something to cover these exterior cords that are hanging down from your TV. That just looks like garbage. It makes it just look very unthought through. These pillows are hideous. So there's ways this property could certainly improve from a management standpoint, or from a managing what the appearance is. But let's jump back into my data. Revenue per month. Pause that there and you will get to look at my average daily rate data I was able to pull for each month, occupancy rates I pulled for each month, and therefore the revenue. They have a big booking in April, if you'll note there. 10 days are already booked in April, so they had a fantastic booking in April already come in, pushing them close to 50% occupancy, on the way to 50% occupancy already for the month of April, so that is good. The total projected gross revenue for this property is $23,371, which I thought was surprising because it's doing better than the Little Red Cabin. They're in a similar market demographic location, and it's making $3,000 more a month just about than the Little Red Cabin is, or $3,000 a year more than the Little Red Cabin is, and they don't have a hot tub. So in my opinion, Pluggy's Place owner, you need to get a hot tub, and you might be able to push your revenue up to over $30,000 a year, which would be a fantastic benefit for you, and probably a 100% return on your investment year 1 from the revenue on that hot tub. Conclusions, however, to should we buy, scroll up, here's our subject. Lot 9, Beta Drive, Beattyville, Kentucky. Should the co-host client buy this and have me rent it for him? Conclusions. 1/5 of $199,000 is $39,800. So based off this very basic rough calculation, we would want our subject property, Lot 9 Beta Drive, to gross revenue at least $39,800 per year to justify a purchase price of $199,000. However, our best comp is only pulling $23,371 conservatively per year, possibly $5,000 to $8,000 short on the projection, but again, we're projecting occupancy conservatively here and really more than market expected average. Properties like our comps and subject property are a dime a dozen in the Red River Gorge and therefore do poorly on revenue. They all look the same. Now, if you were building new if you were building new and knew how to cut costs, then a property like our comps may be doing very well for their owners. But our subject property needs far too much updating and poor revenue projections from our comps. So I told my prospective co-host client that if he wanted to buy this property, then I would not offer more than $125,000. The property has already been on the market for 100 plus days, and that purchase price would fit our 1/5 calculation far better, also giving some room for the obviously needed adjustments to the interior and exterior of the subject property that we're thinking about purchasing. Though I caution the client on making an offer on this one at all. This property that we talked about, Beta 9 Beta Drive, needs obvious interior and exterior updating to make it what it needs to be, to really be even a decent rental in the Red River Gorge. It's not going to be even a ballpark hit for this guy. He may not be looking for a ballpark hit. This guy is particularly a fan of the Red River Gorge, and therefore I think that's great. If he wants to break even, this might be the property for him. But if he buys Lot 9 Beta Drive and has me rent it for him, he's going to be coming out of pocket thousands of dollars a year because I'm going to get my management fee on top of already being short on his revenue probably compared to his monthly expenses. So I cautioned him and said, hey, I will manage it for you, but here's where I think you're going to be running into some problems. Now, why would I do that as a co-host property manager? Don't I want to make money? The answer is yes, I do. But do I want to manage a property that is going to be struggling all the time? Do I want to manage a property for a owner who is coming out of pocket thousands of dollars potentially a year in negatives on monthly bills? He's not going to be happy, and he's going to be wanting me to fix that situation for him by fixing it as a manager. And when you're working with broken tools, you cannot fix the problem. If the property itself is broken, then there's no co-host manager on the face of planet Earth that can make it better for you as an owner. So you as an owner have a due obligation of also seeing where your property is at in order to enable your co-host manager or your property manager to perform, giving them the tools they need to perform with. I would rather not manage a property that's going to be struggling all the time because it's just not a property that can succeed. It's too basic. It's too similar to everything else. It's not standing out from an appearance or structural standpoint. There's no nice, it's really set apart features with it. He could add a hot tub. He could add a barrel sauna. He could paint the exterior black. He could do some accent walls. He could do several things, but he's going to be coming out multitude thousands of dollars on top of a purchase price that already is really far too high. Even if he does do all those renovations, it's not going to justify the price of purchase plus all those renovations. So in my opinion, I cautioned him on making an offer on this one. And if he does make an offer, again, look at your screen there. I told him, again, I would probably not offer any more than $125,000 to $130,000. And even then, I might even want some kind of kickbacks of some kind towards the closing costs or something. This guy's property's been on the market for 100 days. He's in need of selling it. I am not in need of buying it. And ultimately, I know that it could even be just a break-even option for me. That's me if I was the one buying it. So the power is in the buyer's hands on this Beta 9 property. Therefore, I caution this potential this client, this property management client, that I probably would avoid this property for the above said reasons. At 1/5 the purchase price of $199,000, it would need to gross revenue $39,800 a year. In its current condition, that is never going to happen. So that's how I came to the conclusion of telling this property management client that this may not be the investment for him. Jumping back in here, guys, I thank you for being with me on this video today. Hopefully you learned some things about how to avoid a bad property purchase as far as a short-term rental is concerned. I really hold to that 1/5 the purchase price mentality, that I want my gross revenue that it's going to make per year to be roughly 1/5 of what the purchase price is going to be. Or I want the gross revenue projection to be 1/5 of what the build costs and furnishing costs are going to be. I want the gross revenue to tell me what it needs to cost to build something or what it's going to cost to buy something. When you know the market on what it can make for you in revenue, then you know what you can bring to the market, because the market is telling you what it can do for you and it's telling you what it wants. So you need to look at the market and the data it gives you and let that drive your investment making decisions. And that's the whole point of this video today. On a side note, I've been reading a really good book. You guys have probably, some of you may have read this before, but it's The Millionaire Real Estate Investor by Gary Keller. Been a fantastic book to me so far. The beginning of it's, in my opinion, kind of slow. It's all about mindset and sort of yah hurrah type of stuff. But I think the basicsness of it and gets a bit more detail in the end is a really fantastic book. And then one I really highly recommend you go and check out if you haven't yet is Profitable Properties by Daniel Rustine. This book has been really helpful to me too as far as being a short-term rental manager. So again, thank you all for being here. I'm Bluegrass Rentals of EKY. Check me out on, obviously, subscribe below, but also on Instagram. And if you are looking for property management services, I am taking on clients in 2025, and I will have a website up here soon, which I'll start sort of marketing here, that you might be able to go and ask me questions if you're looking for a profitable short-term rental market. Kenny Bedwell of STR Insights is speaking very highly of Southeast Kentucky, particularly Slade, Kentucky, which is the Red River Gorge that we're talking about, and that it is a top mountain market to invest in 2025. And I think that you would be very surprised at what you can do in this market. However, what I want you to think is buy land and build new, because there just is no on-market inventory for you to come in and buy as an out-of-state investor. But if you have people who know the market like myself or some other investor you can learn to trust, I can guide you on what land to buy, as I have great realtor contacts I can give you, as well as I have great contacts for contractors, and contractors are also dangerous in this area. Some of them are very stupid. As you watch my first video I ever put on this YouTube channel, I was also taken quite advantage of by a contractor when I first entered this market. But buying land and building new is your best bet in the Red River Gorge. So again, thank you for being here. Hope you got value from this video. Hit that subscription button down below. It would bless me so much if you would do that. Have a good day. See y'all later.